Hey guys, what's up? And it's your girl Suzanne from Just a Pinch of Crazy, and I am here in my craft room trying to come up with some ideas for you for some new Halloween decor. And I've figured out a couple new ideas for light up ideas to do, and the first one we're going to do today is a cloche. Inside the cloche is going to be like a little spooky scene with a skull that's going to light up different colors. And I haven't figured out all the details, but we're going to get it going. And I'm going to figure out the rest as we're working our way through it. And I'm going to let you know all of the things that you need to make this project. So let's get started. Alright, so we're going to need some tin foil, because I'm thinking maybe we're going to make a tree and we might sculpt it out of tin foil. Not sure. Or maybe we're just going to get some sticks from outside in the yard and just glue them together. Not sure about that part yet. That's a part that I'm kind of on the fence about. Don't know what I'm going to do yet. We're going to try with the tin foil first, I think. You're going to need a screwdriver to poke a hole. You're going to need a bag of the skulls. This is from Dollar Tree. You're going to need some paintbrushes. And you're going to need an X-Acto knife. You're going to need a little bit of black creepy cloth. Not the whole thing, just a tiny bit. If you want, you can use some of these little dingleberry things. You can buy these at Michael's, Hobby Lobby. A cloche. You're going to need a cloche. I got mine at the thrift store. As you can see, it says $3.99 on it. It might have even been a butter dish. I don't even know. But you know what? It doesn't matter. It's going to be a little Halloween decoration now. So, or a little cake dish. It might even have been a cake or cheese thing. Who cares what it was? It's what we're going to make it into that matters. So if you can't find one of these at the thrift store, you could always try to figure out a way to use some Dollar Tree products to make your own with a little piece of wood and turning a glass upside down or a bowl and doing it that way. Maybe like putting a little knob on top of a bowl. A little clear glass bowl. You could do it that way. You're going to need some fake spiders and some spider webs. The spiders come with it, so don't worry about that. You're going to need some Spanish moss. I have some big thick jute cord that I made into a noose. I am not going to show you how to make a noose for obvious reasons that, you know, I don't want any children to be watching this with you and learn how to make a noose and, you know, do anything horrible. So here's a noose. If you want to learn how to make a noose, go on YouTube and look it up like I did, and you'll find videos on how to do it. I'm not going to teach you how to do it. Yeah, I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want anybody's kids to get hurt by watching one of my videos, and so I'm not going to do that. That's optional. You don't even have to put that on your piece if you don't want to. Also, I have white chalk paint and black acrylic paint, and I have some little fake like plasticky looking plants that came off of some flowers that I used in a previous project. Okay, and I have a light from the Dollar Tree. It was white, but I didn't want white, so I painted it black with some paint, and it does light up multicolored. All right, you can get clear if you want to. It's up to you. It's your project. Do what you want. I like the multicolor. I thought it was cool. All right, so far we're just gonna open up the cloche. I put out some of the Spanish moss down first, and I just stuck these flower pieces in randomly around the bottom. You don't want to use a lot of the moss, because we got other things that are going to go in there. All right, now the skull head. What did I do to this? We're going to take one of these guys, and so that it can fit on top of this light. Obviously, it does not have a hole on the bottom, so you're going to need to take a screwdriver, a Phillips head screwdriver, and you're just going to need to start carefully turning it in your hand until it starts to make a hole. All right, once you got the hole made, then just keep going until it gets bigger, you know, big enough to slide on top of the light. If it's not big enough when you use the screwdriver, then I opened up a pair of scissors and I just started reaming the hole wider with the scissors. Okay, so that's that. So next thing you're going to do is take 2 coats of white paint and paint your skull. Actually, if you want to make this project even easier, you don't even have to paint the skull, but you're going to need the hole in the bottom so you can stick it on top of the light anyway. But if you don't want to paint the skull, don't paint the skull. It's all up to you. When you paint the skull, just know that it does not shine through as brightly as it does when he's not painted. It's up to you though what you want to do. Okay, I wanted them painted. I just don't like the weird color that they made them. Like this really weird, like yellowy, I don't even know what the color, even what to call it. I wanted mine whiter, but I'll show you what it's going to look like. Okay, so I'm going to take, smushing the sides and shoving the screwdriver up the bottom. Okay, there's the hole. And it's not going to fit because our light is way too big. So then you're just going to open the scissors up and just start turning it like this until it gets big enough. See how much bigger that hole got? Does it fit? Not yet. Keep going. Keep turning the scissors. Let's see if it's going to fit now. Yeah, it's fitting. Okay, I also, this light that I have here, it was not black, it was white. I couldn't find any black ones at the time that I went shopping at Dollar Tree. Which is where all these products came from, by the way, minus the paint. The paint I got from Walmart, and I've had the paint. But you can also buy acrylic paint at the Dollar Tree too if you don't have any and you don't want to go to Walmart. That's totally up to you. But I just painted it with some acrylic black paint because I didn't want a white base on the light. Alright, so here's what it's going to look like if you don't paint the skull. Here's my light. It changes all different colors like these guys in the back here. So you're going to put them on, and there's your skull, and he's glowing. I don't know how well you can see that. Let me see if I can turn my light down a little bit and see if you can see better. There you go. Alright, now you see what that looks like. Hold up. Now I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to put the one that I painted on top. I think I might need this. Hold on, I gotta open this guy up a little bit more. Alright. Here's the skull. Okay? He's not really glowing as well as the other one. But I thought if you wanted to paint him, you didn't like the color, what you could do, let me turn this up before I cut my fingers off, is very carefully, very, very carefully, because this is tiny. Just take the eyes out of this guy, right? After I painted him white twice, I took black and I put the black in the obvious spots. The sockets of the eyes, the sockets of the nose, and the mouth. You're going to have to do black, and then you're going to have to take a paintbrush and dip it back in white after the black dries and put dots for the teeth. Alright, and then the sides, I just gave it a little, you know, a little bit of gray. I mixed the white and black on my parchment paper that I like to use down here on the bottom. I like to put parchment paper on my table so that way if I want to, you know, wipe off my paintbrush and dry brush, it's on the parchment paper I can throw away, then not on my table. And now I'm just going to try to very carefully, without cutting too much, but cutting just enough, cut the eyes out of this guy. And we're going to see what it looks like with the eyes cut out. Alright, obviously we're going to have to go back in with black paint and touch that up because we don't want to leave it that color. Alright. There's one eyeball. Like I said, be very careful because if you slip with this X-Acto knife, it's going right into your thumb. So don't let little kids help you with this part. Alright. Shake that guy out of there. I might I don't know if I want to open the mouth or not. Let's see. I'm just going to get some black paint on this guy around where I just cut it out. See this, what it looks like cut out? I'm just going to put some black paint around the edges of where I just cut out. Let's see here. And we'll see what it looks like then on the white. If it looks better. And you know what? If you can, get in there with your paintbrush and paint like behind, inside the skull and stuff. If you can paint it black, sometimes that helps the light shine better and look better. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Also, if you don't have paintbrushes, they do have paintbrushes at Dollar Tree, and they have nice thin ones, is what I'm using for this. Is a nice thin paintbrush. It's not going to coat it perfectly because you can't really reach it that well, but if you could just darken it up a little bit better than what it is, the light might look better. All right. Shoot. All right, my paintbrush is going crazy. It doesn't have to be perfect, and if you make any mistakes, you know what? You could just go back in with your white paint. Just go over the part that you didn't like. No big deal. Alright, so there he is. So let's see what he's going to look like on the light now. We're going to turn this down so we can actually see. Turn down. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think maybe I'm going to try to open up the nose holes a little bit. You guys can't see what I'm doing here. There we go. Now you can see what I'm doing. Let me just go turn this back up. Oh, sorry, guys. I'm fudging with everything. I got a mess over here on the floor. So much stuff that I have to do for you guys. All right. These guys. Put this back in here. Tighten it back up. There we go. I'm just going to go into the nose socket and just see if I can ream it out a little bit. You don't want to take a lot out. Be super careful with this because this is even smaller than the eye socket. And if you accidentally sit there and cut part of the face that you didn't mean to, relax. You could start over on a new one, or you can just try to cover it up with some paint or some glue. Most of the time, if you paint over it, if it's like a little bit and you use some paint, no one will ever know. Alright, there we go. Now I'm just going to slit his mouth open a little bit. I'm gonna go in between the teeth and just give it a cut. You see what I'm doing? All right, see? Now his mouth opens. I know you guys are probably thinking, Jesus, it's a lot of work for a little thing. Yeah, it is. But I like it, and it's fun, it's different, something to do. I enjoy doing this stuff. All right, I'm just gonna very, very carefully run my paintbrush in between the teeth somewhat. It's not going to be perfect because this thing is super tiny. All right, I'm just trying to open up the mouth a little bit more. All right, see what I'm doing? I'm just opening the edge of the mouth up so some more light can come out. I'm just gonna go back in with my black paint and touch up the spots that the paint came off of. See, I can literally stick the paintbrush in his mouth now. I didn't open up the front because that's where the teeth actually are, and I want to keep his teeth. Okay, but the sides, they can be opened up. All right, now let's put this guy back. All right, no, oh, let me explain this too. The sides, how I did that with the gray on the sides. Really what I did was, after this was all done 2 times in white, I painted the sockets on everything, and then I just wiped off a lot of the black paint, and I just did a little line over here, and I painted this with a sponge brush, and then I just took the sponge brush while the black was still wet on the edges of the creases. You'll see, like on your skull, it's gonna have like little indents and stuff, and that's where I put the black, and then I just came back with the white, and I just bounced it in there until it blended out. Like I said, if this is all too much for you and you're like, yeah, nah, I don't have time for that, by all means, just do the hole in the bottom and do this one. But I think this guy looks a lot better than this one. What do you think? All right. So, black came off of this thing again. So I'm just going to touch it up again. Okay. And now, we're gonna have to let that dry. Okay, so we got this. What else do we want to do? We gotta figure out a tree or something for the background. So I'm back, and I tried the method with the tin foil. I didn't like how it turned out, so I'm going to edit that out of my video and just skip on that. And I went out in the yard and I just snapped off some branches off of my raspberry bush, and I'm just gonna glue them in, because honestly there's not enough room to really even glue anything really tall in there. It would have been great if I could have found like a creepy looking tree in the toy department or in the Halloween section at Dollar Tree or Walmart or something, but I haven't. So I'm gonna go with what I have, and that's the branches outside. I also picked up a pack of these 12-piece creepy creature glow in the dark. What are these, millipedes? I think they are, or centipedes. So I have a use for these for another project. Actually, I think I'm going to use these in 2 different projects for the future. So these will be used for 3 projects. So I'm going to use 2 of these in this little cloche and put them in there just for some extra decor inside there. I also got a bunch of the big glittery spiders that they had at Dollar Tree. Let me show you. Here's a purple pack. They had green and orange, and they have glitter on their butts. And we're going to use some spider webs on this, so these will be perfect to add to it. I'm going to just get finished what we stopped at. We needed a little creepy background, the tree. Put some spider web in there, and you know, we'll have our skull. We're going to glue down our moss onto the bottom on the wood, and we're not going to glue the skull only because the way you turn them on is underneath. Otherwise we would be gluing that as well, but we can't glue it because that's the switch for on-off. But everything else we'll be using hot glue for, and our project will be done, and then we're going to be on to a super fun one that I came up with. I'm very excited to do this next project with you guys because I think it's an original idea, and I think that you guys are going to like it. And so let's get this going. Alright, so let me move you back a bit. Here is our tray with our moss on. Here's our creepy crawlies. We're just going to pick them off for now. We're going to just simply pick this up, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue around the bottom, and I'm going to glue this on. That's going to be step 1. So I'm just going to swirl it all over. Be very careful when you're putting this on, because this glue, you know, it's going to go through this moss. It's not going to, you know, this moss isn't going to protect your fingers if you're pushing the wrong spot. Alright, so if you think you need more, you can always add more. Alright, there we got that. Alright, so now the next thing I'm going to do is I measured, I put this down and I put this lid on top to see just how tall I could make these. That's about as tall as I can make it in there with the lid being able to fit on. I don't know if there's a glare from the stupid light. Hang on guys, let me see if I can turn this light down a bit so you can see what I see. Let's see, I'll turn it off. There we go. So there's only so much room in there that you can fit something tall in there. So that is what we're going to do. Simply, you know, you just got to measure underneath, go like this, see where it can, if it's going to stand up when you do it. If not, you're going to have to cut some off. Cut it off from the bottom and use the top part. So I'm just going to take some glue and put it on the bottom, and I'm going to stick this in the back where I want it. Hold it for a second or two. We should be good. You can glue in as many of these as you want. I'm going to glue a couple of them in here, just so we have some, you know, we want some stuff in there to look at. We don't want it to be all boring and just, you know, just a light up skull with some moss. Trying to figure out where I'm going to put these. If I want them close, if I want them farther apart. I'm snipping mine with some pliers. I like these because the berries are all dried off and it looks kind of creepy. You could paint these black if you wanted to also. Just going to hold that for a second. We're just going to make a little well for our skull to fit in there. I'm just gently pushing aside the moss. And then don't forget we cut his eyes and his mouth and the sides of his mouth and his little nose holes opened, so that way when you turn the light on, it is bright. If you don't want to do that, like I said, I wanted my skull to be white because I wasn't really a fan of the color of this skull, but like I said, if you don't want to go through all that hassle, the light does shine better through this one. You don't have to go bother and do all that, but I like to be extra, so. Alright, so we're going to put our little skull down in there. Okay. Now we just need to glue our bugs on. We're just going to set them right by the skeleton. And if you don't know which is the front and which is the back, these two long pointy antenna or pincher parts, that's the front of the bug. The other part's his butt. Okay, this side's the front and that's his butt down there. Alright, so we have that. Now I want to grab some spider web, and I'm going to try to stretch it out to look realistic. So let me just grab a piece off of here, and then we can put our spiders. You can use the spiders that are in the bag if you want to, but I am going to use the other glitter butt spiders. Oh my gosh, once you get the stuff out of the bag, it goes everywhere. You're not going to need a huge piece for this, because you want to stretch it thin so it looks more real. A lot of people, when they put these spider webs up, they don't stretch the web thin enough and take their time with it to make it look real. They just kind of like throw it on there. Alright, so you want it webby like this. So, that's what we're going to put over here. You can use scissors also to, if I could find my scissors. You know what I did with them. This room is a hot mess, let me just tell you that. It's very shameful. I really need to get these projects done so I can clean up the $500 tree bags that are on the floor. Alright. If you want to make it go under, do that also, because I'm sure this thing's going to close over a spider web. I don't see it being a problem. You want to wrap it around like this. Just be careful how tight you pull it, because when you're pulling it, you're also pulling the trees down. I can't find my scissors, so I'm going to have to use my snips here. I hope that it cuts. And it doesn't. So I'm just going to have to pull it like a maniac until it's where I need it to be. Alright. I'll worry about the excess underneath later when I find my scissors, wherever they got to. trees stand up. This would have been better if I had my scissors and I could have cut the stupid spider web, but I don't know what I did with them. Because I got very annoyed about the tinfoil thing not coming out right. Alright. Now, I tried not to cover him up too much. You can kind of pull him out of there. I'm going to turn him on just so you guys can see what it's going to look like. Also, I'm going to put a little glue around the bottom of his head so he stays on the light. And then I'm going to shove him back in here. His little creepy little nest. And then just pull the webs down in front of him again. Let's see, what color spiders do we want? Maybe one of each, really think. Oh, these guys are pretty big. Let's go to green. This spider's almost as big as the skull. Maybe we'll glue this guy back here so that you have something to look at when you're looking at the back of this. I'm just going to glue his head right onto the little spider head right onto this little homemade tree we got going on here. Sit still. Alright, then we're going to gently stuff all that in there. Okay, now, I don't know if I want creepy cloth on it or not. I have some creepy cloth, and I just, the tiny little section off. I just have a tiny little bit here. And I was thinking maybe just put like a tiny little piece to make it creepier. And then my little noose for the top, I'm just going to put on. Trying to spread this open a little bit more so you can see what's going on in there. Let me just see if I can cut it with my snips. It's not working. Alright, it's okay. Let me see what it looks like. Hold on, guys. I need to get scissors. Hold on. This is definitely not working with this. I will be right back. Okay, guys, I'm done. Here's my little centerpiece. I'm going to spin it around so you can see. Here's the spider. And now when we put this underneath a lamp or something, don't forget our centipedes in there by our skeleton are going to glow. And that is our project with this. I'm going to turn the lights off so you can really see how it looks. Okay guys, here's our skeleton with our creepy cloth on and our cobwebs. Here are the lights off. I'm trying to give you a shot so you can see without it with any glare. I think it looks pretty creepy, pretty cool. You could always add whatever else you wanted to yours. I'm just going to spin them around for you. There's a spider up here. I think it's pretty cute for Halloween. Alright guys, so that was our project. One down, many more to go. I have an exciting next project, so stay tuned. You're going to want to see it. It involves witches that light up and a cauldron. So, stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching. Try one of these. They're so easy. Even if you get the Dollar Tree cloche that they have from there. I'm losing my train of thought. I know it's not as big as this one, but you can still do something, you know, cute inside. And you don't have to make it scary inside. You can make it nice inside with just like pumpkins and leaves and, you know, things like that. Just because I made mine scary doesn't mean you have to. If you don't like scary, you could do just a Halloween theme inside. It's up to you. It's your project, so you do it the way you like it. I like scary, and I like nice, but I like scary more. So, anyway, enough of my babble. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. And I love you guys. Bye.